Who told you that you need expensive products to get a face like this? They're lying to you, sis. They're lying. Today, sis, I showed you guys a full face using affordable drugstore products. So I showed you guys all the products that you'll need to achieve a flawless face like this. This is considered a full face of makeup, perfect for events, parties, birthdays, all of that good stuff. So if you guys are interested, then just continue to watch. Alright sis, so I'm excited to film today's video. So I've already done my brows off camera. So I used my e.l.f. brow lift as my gel, and then I filled it in with my CoverGirl Clean Fresh brow liner. So these are the two products that I did use to just do my brows. I feel like we should get our brows out the way before I show you guys everything else. So we're gonna move on to the complexion, which is the main part, and we're gonna get into details. So let's get into it. All right, so we're gonna assume that your skin is already prepped, and by prepped, I'm talking about skincare. You've already moisturized. So that is first and foremost, you wanna make sure that your skin prep is out of the way. So now that your skin prep is out of the way, we can now move on with our first makeup product, which is a primer. So today I'm gonna be using the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. This is the one with 4% niacinamide. And I love this one because it helps to grip the makeup. So people ask, why do we use primer? Primer is that base. It's going to be protecting your natural skin and just be a base for the makeup you're going to be applying on your face. So you definitely want to have a primer in your kit at all times. So I'm going to use this and just apply it all over my face. Me personally, I like to focus my primer in my T-zone. That is just something I personally like, but you can of course apply primer all over your skin. And I love this primer because at the same time as being like a gripping primer, it's also hydrating. So if you're someone who has really dry skin, you would definitely benefit from this primer because it's going to help hydrate the skin and just prep the skin for the foundation or the makeup that you're going to be applying for the day. And you don't want to completely rub in the primer. You want to make sure that you're just leaving a nice tacky film on the skin. This is what's going to allow your next product, which is your foundation, to really grip and stay on the skin. All right, so that leads us to our second product, which is a foundation. So a foundation is pretty much your base times 2. I always say this in my videos. This is what is going to give your skin a really even complexion, especially if you're someone who deals with dark spots, acne marks, hyperpigmentation. A foundation is going to give you one clean, even base. So today I'm going to be using the Maybelline Super Stay Foundation, and I'm in the shade Deep Bronze. This is the shade 370, and this has more of a neutral undertone. So you guys know based on my previous videos that I'm more of a neutral undertone. I have a mixture of yellow and red undertones. So this is like one of my favorite foundations. So this is considered a full coverage foundation. It's really lightweight as well. So if you're someone who does need that extra coverage, this is the foundation for you because it's going to give you that coverage while allowing your face to feel light. So you're not going to feel like you have a lot of makeup on with this foundation. So because this is full coverage, I am going to be using my beauty sponge today. So this is the Wonder Beauty sponge. I did get this a part of my FabFitFun box. So I did mention this in my previous video. I do have a coupon code down below that you can use if you want to do your first subscription for FabFitFun. I'll leave it on the screen here for you and in the description box below. But I'm going to go in with this, and of course it is damp. I already wet it. I squeezed out all the water that I can, and it's damp and ready to go. So we're going to use this, and I'm just going to take one pump of this foundation on the back of my hand to start. And because I'm using a sponge, I like to go in with little dots on my face. So this is just going to allow me to control how much foundation I'm putting on my skin. So we're just going to apply it. And then taking my beauty sponge, I take the butt end rather than the tip. I use the butt end to blend out. And all we're doing is dabbing that in. So that is one side completed. So you guys see the difference between both sides. Once I do this side, you guys are going to see how that foundation covers this spot right here on my face. But you can see how that foundation covers. It's really full coverage, but it gives you a really nice lightweight feel. And again, we're going to go in with dots on our skin just to control how much of the product we're putting on. You can always go in with more if you need to build that foundation. And you don't need to put any foundation underneath your eyes. That is normally reserved for your concealer. If you do put foundation underneath your eyes and then go in with your concealer, your under eyes is going to tend to crease more. So I avoid putting too much product underneath my eyes. So always narrow it down to just putting concealer under your eye. All right, so remember that spot that I had on my face? You guys clearly cannot see it. That is how full coverage this foundation is. And I only applied one layer. All right, so we have our foundation on. So we've already done primer, foundation. Next is your concealer. So your concealer is used to conceal your dark under eyes if you have bags under your eyes. It's also used to help brighten the under eyes. So if you're going for a full face like we are today, this is where your highlighting comes in. And with a highlighting concealer, you want to use a concealer that is 2 to 3 shades lighter than your complexion. So whatever you use for your foundation, I would suggest going 1 or 2 shades lighter than that to use as your highlighting. Today I'm going to be using the Maybelline Conceal and Perfect in the shade number 2 Ginger. This is actually supposed to be a contour for, I guess, lighter complexions, but I'm going to use it as a highlight. Guys, there's no rules to makeup. We can do whatever we want with makeup. And I really love the shade of this because this is just something that I would personally use as a concealer. So we're going to go in with this today to really brighten and bring back the brightness and highlights to our skin. And I love this applicator because it does have the little puff on the end. This is really good for even blending out. You can use it as something to really lightly blend out your concealer as well. So I'm going to go in with a bit of this underneath the eyes. So we're going to work with the under eye first. And I like to just apply some in the inner corners and then the ends here. And then to blend out the concealer, I'm going to go in with my Real Techniques Brightening Concealer Brush. This is good for brightening the under eye with your liquids or cream concealers. So I love the way it's shaped as well. This is going to help really blend the under eye. So we're just going to use dabbing motion. So you want to start with blending out the edges and then work your way up. I always say that in all my videos. And I like that it's angled. The brush is angled as well. This helps you to really keep the concealer just going straight up. And when you're blending out your concealer, you want to make sure to bring it up on the sides here for your nose. This is going to act as your nose contour later on. So you always want to blend out the concealer on the sides of your nose. And then for the rest of the face, we're going to apply it on the forehead, down the bridge of the nose, contour, and the chin. As a beginner, if you're looking for a really good concealer brush, I definitely recommend the Real Techniques. This blends out your concealer like it's nothing. And it's also really good for doing the nose contour as well, just based on how slim the concealer brush is as well. All right, so we have our concealer down. We have one more cream product to go, and today I'm going to be using cream blush. So as of recently, cream blush has been really popular. It's definitely something that a lot of people have in their makeup kits for sure and use on a day-to-day basis. So I'm going to introduce this into a beginner's makeup look. Today I'm going to be using the e.l.f. liquid blush. This is the Camo liquid blush in the shade Coming In Hot. And with liquid blush, you have to be really careful of how much you're putting on your skin. You do not want to overdo it with liquid blush. So I always recommend putting your liquid blush on the back of your hands to start. The back of your hand should be like completely a disaster by the end of your makeup look, because this is what's going to help you control how much product you're putting directly on your face. So I'm going to take my Menage pointed brush. This is the number 19 brush. This is what I always use for my cream blush. And we're just going to take a bit of that and warm it up. And we want to just find our cheeks. Usually that's a little above where our contour is. If you want to smile just to see where the apples fall, that's literally where you want to apply your blush. So I always recommend going in with a smaller hand, and then you could always build how you want your blush to come out. So we're gonna go in with a light hand first and just build it up. Now you guys have probably seen me go in between doing my concealer first or my blush first. Honestly, it doesn't matter which way goes, but it is easier to do your blush first and then your concealer, which I should have done today just to show you guys. If you do want to use liquid blush, I would suggest using your blush before your concealer. So I'm gonna go back in with the concealer and I'm just gonna apply one more layer. This is a really lightweight concealer, so that's why I'm not afraid to go in with one more layer. If this was a full coverage concealer, I definitely wouldn't go in with another layer, but this is really, like, it's so thin. Let's just say we put our concealer on now. The concealer is going to help blend out the edges of that blush, just like that. So that's why I say go in with your, if you're going to be using a liquid blush, go in with your liquid blush first, and then you can use your concealer to really clean it up and also mute down the harshness of that blush. So before we finish off with the concealer, I'm going to use the concealer one more time, and I'm going to use it to clean up my brows and conceal my eyelids. So you want to grab a flat brush. You can grab any flat brush. Honestly, I do not know the name of this brush. I did get it here in Canada. I believe it is a Quo brush, but you want to use a flat brush, and this is just going to help conceal your brows. I do have a detailed video on how to do your brows, how to do a wing liner, and how to apply lashes. So if you haven't checked that out, I'll leave it in the cards above so that you can check that out. I went in detail on the brushes to use and the products to use to achieve a really nice eye makeup look. So if you haven't checked that out, I will leave it in the description box below. So all I'm doing is using the concealer to clean up the brow. This is going to give a really nice put together makeup look. And you don't need to conceal the top portion of your brow anymore. That is a thing of the past. You definitely don't need to do that. So all you need to do is just conceal under the brow. This is just going to really sharpen it up and allow it to look more tamed and put together, especially if you're growing out your brows like I am. And then you want to place some on the lids as well. And then with the Real Techniques brush, you just want to blend everything out. So just like that, you see how it really sharpened my brows. My brows look really put together, really sharp. This is what we want. So you always want to make sure you're using the same concealer that you used for your highlighting to conceal your brows. All right, so we have all our cream products down. Now we can finally move on to some powder. So today I'm going to be using an OG powder, guys. This is my first powder that I've ever used for setting. When setting was a thing in the past, in the 2016 era, this was like my first powder. So this is the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Setting Powder. This is what I used to highlight when highlighting was in, highlighting and contour. I probably have videos to this day using this specific powder. So this is what we're going to use today to set everything in place. And I really love this powder because one, it is super affordable. If you're someone who loves diving into affordable makeup products, this is a really good affordable setting powder that you can use to set your face. So we're going to be using this today, and I am going to take my Wander Beauty Velour Puff. This is what I'm going to use to just set everything in place. So I did shake out some of the powder into the pot here, and the powder is what's going to allow your makeup to stay all day. If you walk out of the house right now like this, whether you're dry, whether you're oily, you are going to look a hot mess. You always want to make sure that you're setting your creams and your liquids with powder. So taking that powder on my puff, I'm just going to take off a bit of that on the back of my hand, just like that. And then before that, I'm just going to make sure that my concealer is blended out. And then we're going to use that powder to set. And when you're setting, you want to use the powder right on the sides here as well. And I love this powder because it really brightens my under eye as well. It gives a really nice smooth finish. So that's something you definitely want. So again, we're just going to set. And then the forehead as well. Down the bridge of the nose. All right, so just like that, we powdered the areas that we concealed, and you could see that it really brightened the makeup look, which is what you want. It really brightened the makeup look and also set at the same time. So now we can move on to powder blush. So like I said, we went in with cream blush, so we definitely need to set it with a powder blush. This is gonna make sure that our blush stays all day and that the longevity of our blush stays. Blush is probably the #1 thing that tends to disappear on our skin if we don't set it with the powder. So today I'm going to be using the Rimmel Maxi Blush. This is in the shade Wild Card. And then taking that same brush that I use for the liquid, I always interchange with this. I just like that it's pointed and it really keeps and directs the blush where I want it. So we're going to dust off the excess and just lightly tap over the areas that we applied that blush. This is just going to ensure that our blush is lasting throughout the day. And then taking a powder brush, I like to go over, just lightly go over the edges of that powder just to make sure that everything looks really seamless and blended. And then we're gonna go in with one more powder, and that is our bronzer. So our bronzer is going to bring back some shadow, some definition to the skin. I can admit that powder really kind of washed me out, so bronzer will really warm back up the skin. So today I'm going to be using the NYX Buttermelt Bronzer, and I did use this in my previous video. I really like it. It is really pigmented, so I'd always recommend going in with a light hand with this product. I'm going to go in with that same powder brush and we're gonna lightly dip into this powder. So you wanna lightly dip into that, and then we're just going to focus it in all the areas that we contour normally. That's where we would focus our bronzer. So on our cheekbones, on our jawline, and on our forehead. So we're just going to lightly apply this. So I'm just applying this directly underneath my blush and then on the forehead as well into the hairline. So you could see the difference between both sides, how bronzer really warms up the skin. This is what we want. You just need to be careful with how much of this you're using. All right, and then taking my angled brush, you guys have seen this in all my videos, but this is a Quo angled flare brush that I use for my nose contour. I did link a dupe of that by Morphe in the description box below. So if you're looking for something like this for your nose contour, check out that link below. But I'm gonna dip into my bronzer as well, and we're gonna use this to just do a bit of our nose contour. And then I like to just place some in the front and kind of blend it in the front to really give a really natural brow look. And then with my velour puff, I'm just gonna go over that and make sure that it's not too harsh. So to finish up the eyes, I'm gonna take my e.l.f. blending brush. So this is just a regular eyeshadow blending brush. I'm gonna use this in my bronzer one more time, and we're gonna use this just to warm up the eyes. Dust off the excess, and I'm just applying this in my crease. This is so pigmented, I can't get over it. Like, why? Why is this so pigmented? All right, sis, so our complexion is pretty much done. I'm gonna finish up with the eyes. So I'm gonna quickly put on, you guys already know my Ardell Wispies. And I think I've been asked if we can reuse lashes. You can definitely reuse lashes. I reuse these little things. I used this in my last video. I used this in my last video. I think I use lashes about 5 to 10 times before I get over it and go for a fresh one. But you can definitely reuse your lashes. So like I said, I do have a detailed video on how to apply lashes. So I'll leave that in the cards above for you to check out. So I'm just gonna quickly pop these on. All right, so we have our lashes on. I'm gonna quickly finish up the lashes with some mascara. So this is the Maybelline Lash Sensational Sky High Mascara. I'm gonna use this for my bottom lashes. All right, so last but not least is our lips. So today I'm gonna be using the Palladio eyeliner that I use as a lip liner. And then for lips, I'm gonna go in with the Milani Matte Lipstick. This is in the shade 61. And this is a really nice nude lipstick. Now, if you're new sis to my channel, you guys probably don't know that I am not a matte girl. I really do not like matte lips on me. Like I try every time. I try to like matte lipsticks, but I just end up putting a gloss over it. So this is how my makeup look would look if I kept my lips matte. It's definitely still cute, but I love a nice gloss. So I'm gonna use my CoverGirl Yummy Lip Gloss, and we're just gonna go over this to add a bit of gloss to this look. It's something about a nude glossy lip for me. All right, sis, so you guys know that you cannot finish up your makeup look without setting spray. So a setting spray is going to allow you to have that longevity and set everything in place, especially if you're going to be wearing your makeup for a few hours. You always want to use a setting spray to lock in your makeup look. So today I'm going to be using the Milani Make It Last. This is their original setting spray. So it's just going to give you a really natural finish. So I'm going to use this as my setting spray today. All right, sis, so that is it for today. We did another detailed makeup look for beginners, but we used all drugstore products. So these are all products that you can find at your local CVS if you're in the States. I believe it's CVS. I think that's compared to our Shoppers Drug Mart here in Canada. Just really affordable drugstore products. So I'll leave all the links to the products that I use in the description box below so that you guys can check it out. I could say all of this was affordable. If you're gonna buy this whole stash, you're looking at about $120, and that's Canadian. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you haven't checked out my recent video, I did a video on brows, liners, lashes, everything eye makeup. So if you haven't checked that out, it is here on the screen for you to check out right now. Right now, don't wait. So check out that video, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.